to our October coffee house.
Our theme is Woodland Dreams. It's inspired by nature and woodland creatures, and we thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, today your hosts are myself, Maleigh, and Maple. We're going to get started with our event with a piece called Betsy by literary junior Catherine Scroggins.
I remember it clear as day. His old raspy voice floated through the cab of our old beat-up truck while we drove around before the sun come up. He said I was 10 years old. It was a morning like this one. The sun was miles from coming up, so I thought I'd get a head start on my daily hunting trip. We slowly came around the bend that, if I had to guess, was as tall as a house. It had rained so much the roads were like mud, like the mud had been made with baby oil instead of rain. I had already hit my head once on the door, making me dizzy. I don't even like hunting, but I'd been busy and wanted to spend some time with him before it was too late. When we got to a better part of the road, he continued his story. Anyway, I had my rifle in my hands and my pack on my back. I'd been calling a turkey for about half an hour, and he was about 40 yards in front of me. About from you to that big oak tree with a twisted branch. He pointed to a tree I must have seen a million times. I was decked head to toe in camo, moving as quiet as I could. I almost pulled the trigger when I heard a noise I'll never forget. It was faint. I stayed there listening for a minute. His voice got real quiet when he said this. He doesn't ever get this quiet unless it's something truly heartbreaking. Daddy, you don't have to tell me. He shook his head, looking at the clearings around us. No, I want to. We got out of the truck and started walking. He started talking again, real low so he didn't disturb the woods. I walked for about a mile to the east and I came to a clearing with an old beat-up shack that was the color of gray mud. You could tell it had been abandoned for a while. Your great-granddad used to tell me stories about the people who used it as a hunting shack. We'd stopped at a little house just like the one he described. I'd seen this house many times in my life. It's not 3 miles from my house. It sunk in quickly. Daddy? Is this? He kept looking around as if the intensity of his stare would part the trees and present the subject of his gaze to him. I knew for certain in that moment that I had been correct in my assumption. He looked as if he were swallowing a golf ball. I heard the animal again and my heart dropped to my toes. I knew that animal. That was my horse, Betsy. She was a gift from my papa, your great-granddaddy, when I was 6 years old. She was the last thing he gave to me before he died. His voice started cracking. Her Appaloosa-colored coat was matted with blood. She was laying in the rusty leaves, unable to move. She kept jerking her head around. I crept slowly toward her, calling her name as I do every morning. After gazing into her big, doe eyes and whispering to her, she calmed down a bit. We had sat on an old chair that had been worn from recent use. We caught our breath for a minute. Her back was broken and she'd been attacked by someone. After a few moments, I said my goodbyes to her. I picked up my rifle, aimed it between her beautiful eyes, and pulled the trigger slowly. He went quiet for a minute. I wrapped my arm around his torso and we sat there. Just me comforting him like he has done for me my entire life.
And now we have Emma Roberts, who is doing The Bee by Emily Dickinson.
Like trains of cars on tracks of flush, I hear the level bee. Ajar across the flower goes their velvet masonry, withstands until the sweet assault their chivalry consumes, while he victorious tilts away to vanquish other blooms. His feet are shod with gauze, his helmet is of gold, his breast a single onyx with chrysoprase inlaid. His label is a chant, his idleness a tune. O for a bee's experience, O clover's end of noon.
Thank you, Emma. It is a tradition in our department that we snap after someone presents. So even though you're watching this, we hope that you'll participate in the snapping. Next up, we have Katie Steers with Wonderland of Trees.
I find myself shaded by towering trees whose branches hang protectively over me, some reaching so low as if to hug me. Dark green needles and leaves flutter to the ground as squirrels and birds land on their branches, sending a playful and curious spirit through the woodland of dreams. Bright yellow rays of sun project through the forest, spotting the ground with its light and warmth. Peeling bark reveals the tree's hiding skin, but the nakedness is even more beautiful, and I trace the wavy designs of the soft wood with my fingertips, feeling the smoothness that lies beneath the roughness, that acts as a shield of protection that nothing needs in a place so peaceful. This next piece is called Hands, that I wrote. My hands, dripping in blood, have killed someone. But as the clear water washes away the deep red stain from every crack in my skin, I realize how perfectly normal they look despite their sin. I realize that this can't be true because these hands are the same hands that held my heart and presented it to you. These are the same hands that held your face and wiped your tears. No, these hands that only brought love could never bring fear, but they did. And with their fear, they killed someone. They took the smile from my mouth and light from my eyes, but as I look at you, I am reminded why. Because my hands that killed someone are mine, and who I killed was the person I thought when I was blind.
Thank you, Katie.
Now we have Aja Lyons, Spring Meditation.
Allow yourself to sit. Allow the soft hum of mower, the chitter-chatter of the trees, the impending Mississippi heat to draw you in, sink you, and lull you into a comatose state of contentedness. Allow yourself to sit. Allow the warmth of the sun to seep, the chill of the breeze to marinate, the sweet scent of coffee to pull you from the stupor you so long for. Allow yourself to sit as the squirrels play in your hair. Let them hide their home in your curls, run amok in your thoughts. Let them look into the mind of your humanity and turn away giggling. In doing so, allow yourself to see. See the world around you. Understand the emotion and wavelength at which everything and everyone rides. Embrace the breath of life, fear the kiss of death, and know that it is nature calling you, beckoning, pulling you back into the center of your own.
Thank you, Aja.
Next up, we are going to have Miss Stephanie Weathersby with her piece entitled, My Words Speak for Me.
The first poem is called I Am Not Beautiful. When I find myself a boy, I enjoy the sight of my face. I love how my cheeks rise when my smile says hello. I love how the width of my eyes catches your everlasting attention, hypnotizing you, never letting go. I get the desire to pour liquid acid onto my face. Yes, I did say I want to pour liquid acid onto my face. I want to see my eyes melt into my skin, my smile deteriorate, my cheeks beaten in. I want to feel the burning sensation of my long, pretty eyelashes. I want to see my eyebrows turn into sharp crisps. I want my face to no longer be. I love when my hair dances in the wind. Every coil, every twist, every lock, every dip, they compel you, lure you to believe that I am beautiful. I want to take a metal razor and shave my head. I want to be bald. Yes, I did say I want to shave my hair bald. I want to feel the cold, vibrating metal on my scalp. I want to see the fall of my hair on the bathroom floor, no longer attached to me, no longer defining me. I want to get rid of everything that makes me pretty, so I can stop hearing it so frequently. Don't get me wrong, I appreciate it dearly. I know your intent and I see what you see. However, when I'm discussing what's going on in the world or my goals for the future, I don't want to hear, you should be a model when writing is what I love to do. After all, what I'm trying to say is, I don't want to be beautiful if that's all I can be. This next piece is called Uncertainty in the Air. That flag flew through the wind of which my family's screams of terror traveled in. That flag composed of the fabric that trapped my family into bondage. Blue for the never-ending despondency. White for the false purity of the state that masked the hate. Red for the blood of the people who bled to be free. That flag was a constant reminder of the horror that still hunts this land. That flag was a constant reminder of what began on stolen land produced stolen property. That flag, which holds the weight of 1 trillion perished souls, no longer flows. Is this a sign of change? Or is it just an illusion? And will everything remain the same? The last poem is called May 25th, 2020. Have you ever seen a black boy sleep? Deep in a trance you would think peace would be. Instead, there is the fear they hold inside their minds. You can hear the quick signs and sighs, the screams for help, crying for their mother. 7 minutes, 46 seconds was how long it took to lose another brother. So I ask you again, have you ever seen a black boy sleep? Have you ever seen a black boy sleep? Have you ever seen a black boy sleep? Sleep is not the name I would give it, more like a plea. A tired plea for change, a tired plea for justice, a tired plea for peace. There is no sleep for the black boy, for no justice, no peace. Abolish the police so our black boys can sleep.
Thank you, Stephanie. Those pieces were so moving.
And now we have Kelly Matthews with To the Sky.
This is a poetry collection entitled To the Sky of 3 poems. Poem 1, The Burning Soles of My Feet. Today I sat beneath the sun and let its teeth sink into my outstretched legs, my arms tucked beneath my back in shadow. Today I reached for the endless sky, fingers outstretched in all of their insatiable greed, and imagined myself taking off my shoes and stepping into the sky's cool blue body like a pool meant for swimming. Today I watched timid green leaves bask in a golden sunset, a school of pink-stained clouds swimming above my head as I eyed haphazard bumblebees and imagined a place unknown. Today I pulled off my shoes, my socks, and stepped into the sky, burning the soles of my feet unexpectedly in the melted pool of sun while searching for a place I'll never find. Poem 2, Clouds Like Mountains. I never learned from the summer heat. I open my window every morning just to see the cool blue sky, to feel it reflect in my eyes, emptiness giving way to a peaceful fullness. And most of all, at night when I argue with my sweltering prison of twisted sheets, I remember the clouds. I remember the blossoming behemoths of white I once vowed to climb in search of the sun. I remember the plump, grand bodies I scrawled into memory as I remembered all of my dreams of living and the way the rain felt yesterday. The last poem is titled, It Feels Like the End. As it rains outside of my window into the world, gray, weary clouds form inside my head, cracks of lightning piercing the gloom, rain like teardrops falling quietly, without a sound. It feels like the end. Today it feels like the beginning of a tomorrow I never hoped for. But beyond my clouded head, beyond the immovable barrier of my window, sunlight shines upon slick clumps of vivid green grass, dotting the earth with yellow as light trickles down, timidly, through waterlogged leaves. It feels like the end, perhaps the end of the rain and this hopeless tomorrow. It feels like the end of the frightening clouds within my crowded school. It feels like the end of waiting.
Thank you so much for that, Callie. We also hope that you have your coffee with you.
Yeah, traditionally we would have our intermission right now, and we would break, and our juniors, who would be our baristas, would serve you guys coffee and cookies. But since you are watching this, we hope that you'll take a moment to do that yourselves and pause the video.
Now we will have the people that signed up for Coffee House. First, Lee Michael.
Hello, my name is Lee Michael Cannon. This is a monologue from Fork in the Microwave, written by Zion Sims. Thank you. Do you ever feel like you can think everything and nothing all at once? Like there's 20,000 thoughts running through your head and you can't grab a single one of them because they're all floating by in this made-up language that no one ever taught you. So they dissolve into this loud and intangible mush that sits where your brain should be. And it kind of looks like a fork in a microwave with your 2-day-old takeout, except it's not your fork or your microwave, it's your neighbor's. So you sit there watching from next door and you can feel the warmth from your house and you start to panic because what if their house burns down and I just sit and watch? What if my house, I'm not supposed to feel anxious today. I'm supposed to feel better than ever. Plus, I think I ran out of pills anyway. I feel like I could climb Mount Everest if I wanted to, or at least a miniature mountain, or at least a hill. Do we have hills in New York? No, they probably all got squished from the buildings and the trains and other stuff. I could climb a building. I would need climbing materials. We could go get climbing materials. We could go on a climbing material shopping spree. That would be lovely. We could make a day out of it. We could go to that little cafe down on 72nd. We could get those scones that you like so much. I don't know why you like them so much. Scones are gross, but it doesn't make me love you any less. No, it doesn't make me love you any less. I personally think you should like the oatmeal muffins, but no, they're too chewy, but that's the best part. Chewy. Just like Chewbacca. Hey, Robin, what's the matter? Thank you.
Thank you, Lee Michael.
That was so powerful. Up next, we have Madison White with a collection of poems.
This first one is called Cease. When the sky's full of clouds, there's nothing to see. The crickets are loud, and there's no one but me. When the rivers fall quiet, and the wind seems to roar, when nothing is light, and life is a chore, go to the woods, the middle of here. Just breathe in the good, and let out your fear. Then the night ends in peace, and all starts to cease. The second one is called Good Dreams Never Last. If your life is dull, an adventure you seek, then head to the trees with four rings beneath. One ring of vines, tied together by fate, one ring of gemstones to have solid ground, one ring of pale feathers to let your dreams soar, and one ring of dandelions so you can wish for more. Put them in a circle, a small one, nothing more, then dance under the moonlight so you can dance no more. Then sit down and wait. Wait till you fall asleep. Then wait for the fairies to guide you to a dream. So go on an adventure. Go find an unknown path. But don't forget that in the end, a good dream never lasts.
Up next, we have the musical stylings of Josie Deaton. She will be performing a rewrite of Heather by Conan Gray.
First of October, nights getting colder. Now that I'm older, I thought it'd be over for me, but the cry till they walked by. Hold tight to my disguise. They stare as if I'm the prize. Fooled in once or two times. I'm not sublime. Why would they wish to be me? My mind isn't half as pretty. Appearances, whatever. A smile would fit better. Trends change like the weather. I'm Heather forever. Little Miss Perfect. Can't see she's worth it. Hides by the curtain. If they see the hurting, they'll leave like the rest do. Only if you knew my heart beats just like you. But I wait to cry till you've walked by. Hold tight to my disguise. They stare as if I'm the prize. Fooled in once or two times. I'm not sublime. Why don't they see right through me? I'm trapped in a glass half empty. Appearances, whatever. A smile could be better. Is this my forever? I wish I weren't Heather. I wish I weren't Why do they call me Heather? My real name suits me better. I'm crying on my doorsteps. I have no strength left. Oh, if they could see what it's like to be.
And now we have our own Maleigh Crespo.
Yes, this piece is entitled Flowers Beneath the Bell. Yellow centers and scattered rocks, vulnerable and disheveled, beady red eyes appear unknown. Why are you here? What an odd arrangement, unintentional art. Protectors of the tiniest form gather round the corroded lines that enclose wildflowers. They hear the bell ring, dingy rope and echoing pride, leafy vines and cement sides, in perfect beauty. Soil dried and flowers dyed, salmon, amaranth, and yellow, tender and sweet. Lastly, we have Addison Laird with a piece by Emily Dickinson.
To buy a flower. Perhaps you'd like to buy a flower, but I could never sell. If you would like to borrow until the daffodil unties her yellow bonnet beneath the village door, until the bees from clover rose their Hocken cherry drawn. Why, I will lend until just then, but not an hour more.
Thank you guys so much for coming to Hot Coffee House. It went really well, and all of you guys did such a great job.
Yes, thank you. Next month, we will have another coffee house hosted by another pair of great literary artists, and the theme will be announced soon. We hope you enjoyed this despite it not being our traditional event. Have a good Monday afternoon.
1st of October, nights getting colder. Now that I'm older, I thought it'd be over.